at the time?
No.
No? Okay.
This is before.
This is Eddie Cantor's house.
No.
No?
This was
Charlie
Charlie
Chaplin.
Chaplin.
I meant Charlie Chaplin's house. That's right.
And he had
okay.
Bill Tilden there, and he was working with him, because Charlie loved to play tennis, and then I got the movie, and I thought, wow, I should brush up on my tennis.
Mm-hmm.
So I took lessons from him.
He was good, huh?
Oh, it was terrific.
Well,
it was
Charlie
marvelous.
Chaplin really did that was a very nice thing he did, because Bill Tilden was then very down on his luck
I know.
and had been
He got in trouble.
arrested. He got in trouble
with a
for
young boy.
with one of the ball boys or
Right,
something
right.
like that. And Chaplin went out of his way to help him and to make his court available to Tilden. And Chaplin then called all his friends in Hollywood and said, "Would you like to come and take lessons?"
And everybody took lessons from him. I mean, Katharine Hepburn, I used to see her all the time at the Beverly Hills Hotel, at the tennis court. I knew Bill Tilden. I was a very young guy. I want to talk about living back in New York, my favorite city. That is your favorite city. That is your love of your life, both of you.
Yes.
When you leave New York, you're just camping out, aren't you guys? Believe me, Manhattan is...
I wouldn't say camping out.
Well, you know what
I'd
I
say,
mean.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't want to use that word, but okay, go ahead.
I was born and raised there, so
Me too.
I was born in Brooklyn, a Brooklyn Dodger fan, and
Now you live next door to the Dakota, and that's a wonderful. You're on 72nd Street.
Yes.
I love that street, and next door to the Dakota. Oh wow, where were you when John Lemon got killed? Were you at home in the apartment, or were you? When did you hear the news? Where were you?
Farley was out of town.
Oh, he was.
And I was staying in the apartment with two Airedales that we had that are pictured in the book, as a matter of fact.
Right.
And I took the two Airedales out for a walk, and I didn't hear the shot or anything, but I saw an ambulance sitting in the driveway, and I saw a body being loaded into
You
the ambulance.
did?
And I found out later it was John Lennon.
Wasn't there a crowd at the time?
No, I think
no.
this was when it had just happened.
Just happened. Interesting.
And we had a friend who had an apartment in the Dakota
Yes.
and had us all over for the funeral,
Really?
the memorial service.
Yes, uh-huh.
And remember, we were looking out John's window, and the moment, and it was a cold but sunny day, very clear, and the moment they read the final words of the memorial service, a little gust of almost like a whirlwind of snowflakes went by the window. And that's the absolute truth.
That's interesting. Yeah.
True.
The book is doing so good. It includes me out. I love the book. The great. You're a great writer. Matter of fact, both of you.
Thank
This
you.
together. How long did it take you to do it?
2 years.
2 years, really.
Farley had put all the. It was in the early '90s when I was still
Yeah.
producing. He had a friend out to our country house, a secretary, and she put down every thought he could remember from the days of the
Yes,
movie and the theater and everything. So when we started working on the book, we had a great Bible,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
called it, to draw on.
Robert Cohen, tell me, you are a director, producer, whatever, soaps in New York. Is that correct?
That's correct. I was
Which-
working here in California
Right.
at the Music Center for Gordon Davidson at the Mark
Right.
Paper. And I was in my mid-40s, and I thought, I love the theater, but it pays very badly.
Doesn't matter. If you love it, you love it. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
but I was in my mid-40s, and I was thinking, oh, well, I ought to get a little money in the bank. And I had a friend who got me connected with soap operas, and
You're doing very well. You've been with it a long time. How did you two... How did you meet? How did you meet?
I was
He was the
connected with Eva Le Gallienne's National Repertory Theater for several years, and Farley joined it in 1963 to star in 3 plays: Arthur Miller's The Crucible, Jean Anouilh's Ring Round the Moon, and Chekhov's The Seagull, and performed it in rotating repertory. And he was terrific in it.
I've seen him in theater, and he is good. I've seen him several theater. You love the theater. I know why you stayed in Manhattan. Do you miss Hollywood at all?
No,
I like that. Real quick.
no,
No.
I don't.
So you don't have regrets? No regrets at all?
No
about
regrets.
leaving, because you left Hollywood, the height of your career, Farley. Really, look how beautiful, and a good actor. Look how gorgeous you are. You were a leading man, gorgeous leading man, and difficult living, like, came out. Everybody came out. But was it difficult for you to come out?
No,
It wasn't?
no.
Really? Because you're a gentleman. Yeah, I've always
Well.
known people when they say Farley Granger, they consider you as a gentleman. I used to talk to Shelley about you. We've spent many hours at her house, and we always said, always a gentleman.
Oh, that's very sweet of her.
You met a gentleman, didn't you?
I certainly did. And Farley never really, that's why the title works. Farley never considered himself in the closet.
Isn't it interesting?
The crowd that he ran around with in Hollywood, or that he loved, was a musical crowd. The musicians from New York, or like Betty Comden and Adolph Green and Leonard Bernstein and
Leonard Bernstein lived in
Gene Kelly.
in the
Kelly.
Dakota.
Yeah, but before that, he lived on 58th Street, and I lived on 58. I think you did too. Did you live on 58 with your dog years ago? I'm talking about in the 50s, maybe, or 40s? No, the 50s. Did you live at Shelley? I stayed at the Park Savoy Hotel. It's a real sleazy little hotel on 58, and I loved it. Actors. Marlon Brando stayed there too, and Shelley. Oh, she met what's his name? That young guy she did that movie with, the theater on Broadway, Christopher Jones. Remember Christopher?
No.
You don't. Well, Farley Granger, it was great talking to you
Thank
today.
you.
You're
Thank
a
you.
gentleman, and I always
Thank
loved
you.
you. I
So
think
are
you're
you,
just
indeed.
a great guy.
Very nice to meet you.
You're a wonderful man. Wonderful book. I love it.
Thank you.
I love the book. And we're going to go out there now, huh? We're here at Different Light, and I think the people are waiting for you. And
Got
boy,
one more
you get...
interview to do.
We have another interview.
Okay? Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't
Thank
want to
you.
stay too long. Thank you. You're wonderful.
Thank you.
You'll see the show in New York.
I'm going to repeat them after you so everyone hears it.
My name is Steve, and of course I'm fascinated with you being here this evening. Also, I would like you to just tell a little bit about working with Hitchcock on Rope, and after that, can you explain a little bit Hitchcock's fascination with just go one question at a time. I'm sorry.
No,
Just
bring them.
talk about Hitchcock and working with him on Rope.
The question is, will Farley talk about working with Hitchcock on Rope? I'm sure he will.
I loved Hitchcock, and on Rope we had a difficult time because the set was practically impossible to work in, because all the walls moved, everything moved, the furniture moved, everything did. And a lot of times we'd get it wrong, we'd have to do it again, and you know, it was not a happy experience for Hitch, but he behaved very, very well. Then I did Strangers, and we became really bosom buddies. And I adore and love him, and I adore and love his wife and his daughter. And I was invited to their house a lot of times for dinner, and we'd all get drunk. And he was wonderful, and he was very, very funny. And he had told me also about The Birds, So I knew that he wanted me in The Birds, but I had gotten into plays and I couldn't do it. But if he liked you, he was really great. And if he didn't like you, you knew it. But he would say funny things all the time, and he'd say, "It's only a movie." If I blew a line or something, and I'd say, "Oh God, I'm sorry, Hitch," and he'd say, "It's only a movie." He could be just so charming and funny.
I think, for those of you who don't know it, very briefly, Rope was an experiment that Hitchcock decided to make a movie that looked like it had no cuts. Well, he couldn't really do a movie with no cuts because a reel of film then was only 10 minutes worth of film. So at the end of the 10 minutes, he would zoom into somebody's black jacket or something like that, and then put on the new reel of film, and he'd be able to move back, and you weren't conscious of there being any cut. Or he'd go onto an inanimate object on the table. But in order to make the tracking shots, because people didn't just stand there and talk, they moved around the room or walked from one place to another, all the scenery was on rollers. There were grips with the furniture that were in the next location that you had to be at, and you just sat down on faith that would be under your butt when your butt reached the point where the seat should be. And also the lighting technicians had all the lights on big rolling stands, and the lights moved with the actors. So consequently, there were lots of problems with the light not matching from one scene to the next, and they'd have to repeat it. And I think what it was Hitchcock not bit off more than he could chew, because he could obviously chew anything technical, but he was had to be totally absorbed in the technical aspects of that movie rather than enjoy the filmmaking experience himself. On Strangers, Farley said he was much more relaxed, worshipped by the crew because they knew that he knew as much or more than they did about what lens to use.